Who else is sitting there saying, "How can it be December 18th?" Am I the only one?
Oh man, where the heck did time go? I know.
Yeah, it's amazing. While we're waiting for people to arrive, I wanted to ask a couple of favors.
No favors for you.
No favors for me,
Good
please.
morning. There's anything.
So, and I know a lot of you already have done this, but I'm going to do what is it? Shameless, selfless, self-plug. I can't think of the phrase. If you have not subscribed to the new YouTube channel that I launched with my new company and the podcast, really appreciate it if you could. I'm going to put the link in the chat. So if you want to give me a little early Christmas gift, jump on there and subscribe to
Check
that.
your sidelines.
Quick other side note. You guys can hear me okay, correctly? We
Yeah.
good? Okay, cool. I am scheduling the upcoming podcast guests. So if you have someone you would like to nominate or you are interested in being on it yourself, then I would love for you to connect with me so we can start scheduling for the first quarter. And there's a few of you even on this call that I think would have a really interesting story to tell. So please keep that in mind and just reach out. You can just email me or send me a social media message if you have someone to nominate or if you would like to be on it yourself. All right, Kat, I believe we have something to kick things off. I know we usually kick off with some good news, but I thought we would mix things up a little bit for the end of the year and we would do a little poll on also follow the Interstate podcast on Apple. So you can do that. Just follow us everywhere. But we thought we would do a little poll, and if you had a word that you lived by in 2025, can you go ahead and click the link or scan the code and put the word that you lived by? Just do that quiz. I'd love for you guys to just verbally, if anyone has any good news that they would like to share to get the call off on a great foot, share it now. Any Christmas miracles happening? Any deals getting accepted or listings signed or tough negotiations you made it through?
I've got some good things.
Okay, good.
I got somebody who called me with a buyer for my listing as a referral from Chicago, and they're looking at my home and another home. They're debating between one of them, so that's in the 3+ mil range. So that's a hallelujah.
That's great.
I also was referred a client from Pennsylvania, and they're looking at 5 to 7+ million, and they're phenomenal people. I don't know when they're going to buy. The other guys, I think, are going to do soon. The other guys are cash, and I don't push people. When they tell me they're ready, they're ready. It's kind of the way I go. But I'm excited.
Excellent. So I think that's great. So anyone else on the call, what was the first thought when you heard the price range of the referred people that are shopping? What thoughts came to mind?
The first thing that came to mind for me, congratulations on that referral. We're licensed in PA. And I was like, "Ooh, do they need to sell? Amazing. What an honor that you're blessed with clients that can afford that. So congratulations. I'm sure you'll take amazing care of them."
Thank you, Amber.
You're welcome.
What else? There's something I want to make sure you guys are getting. If you're sitting in South Carolina or Florida or Arkansas, I don't think anyone's here from Arkansas.
Bet you get the referral fee, and it's a decent.
Hold on, Karen. I want they need to connect the dots. So if you're not Karen Olson and you heard her saying, I'm working with 2 referral clients, one in the 3 million range, one in the 5 to 6 million range, what should you be thinking yourself wherever you're sitting in America?
How do I get the same referrals?
Who can I refer to someone?
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah. Who could you refer? So are you making posts saying to people in your database, have you considered a home in Hawaii?
Mm-hmm.
One of my great colleagues sells amazing homes in Maui. Reach out. So because the referral fees, if you refer someone that's going to spend that much, your referral fee is going to be fantastic. A. B. I guess I flipped it because I guess Amber's answer was A. That was B. So A, on the other side of it, make sure that you are fostering relationships with agents in resort and second home markets like Hawaii, like Sun Valley, Idaho, like West Palm Beach, Florida. So make sure that you're connecting with agents that sell in second home markets because, Karen, in your database, where do the bulk of the people in your database live full-time, on the mainland or in Hawaii?
90% at least on the mainland.
Okay, so just look So, little side note there. Okay. All right. Let's get one other bit of good news, and then we're going to jump into all the alignment conversation and how to navigate energy in this time of year and kick off the new year in an amazing way. But let's get one more piece of good news.
We have good news. Can you hear us?
Yes.
So we spent our morning calling expireds and pre-foreclosure leads, and we were able to uncover 2 listing opportunities for the team. Everybody got out of their comfort zone, and we were just plugging away together.
I think that's pretty incredible.
Yeah.
Love it. And it appears that no one had to go to the emergency room.
We all survived.
Yeah, okay,
We all,
good.
we all survived.
No, yeah, no one's in a straitjacket. All right, good. So, getting out of your comfort zone and making it happen. So this is cool. You can see some of the words that people lived by in 2025: station, love, faith, intentional, manifest, grateful, present. And in the chat, we had unbelievable, faith, intentional and what we'll do is if you have selected your word of the year, if you do a word of the year or phrase of the year for 2026, you can pop it in the chat while we're having the meeting, and we'll wrap up the call with anyone who would like to share that too. Okay. All right. So let's jump in. How can we navigate this time of year and really kick off the next year in a powerful manner and really look at it's come up on a lot of coaching calls. It's come up in a lot of coaching conversations. Frankly, I even mentioned this at Mega Camp 2024 during the luxury event when I was blessed to be one of the panelists there. With everything that's emerging in AI and social media and automation, now more than ever, we want to be the human element. We need to be human beings being human and interacting at an even higher level that is organic and natural, while at the same time we're allowing the tools, the technology, and the efficiencies created there to be doing what they're doing in the background. So we're gonna talk about how do you do that and how do you keep your energy in a great place. So just looking at where are you right now, and many of you are not, but if you happen to be any of these, we're going to talk about how can you get over being all these overs and how can you get back to an equilibrium that is going to allow you to enjoy each day, claim happiness, and not get burnt out. So let's keep going from there. Yeah, this is what I'd like for you all to be. Do you ever hear people complaining like, "Oh, I'm so go back to it, Kat. I want you all to complain, like I'm over relaxed, too much." The other day I slid right off my sofa because I was so relaxed, right? And over engaged, but in that positive way, the engagements that fuel you. Do you know how there's some people that you're around and when you finish being with them, you feel energized, and then there's others where you feel drained. I want you to feel like over engaged and able to say yes and able to say no, depending on what would actually make you feel happy. So we were just a little play on words there of how do we shift that to positive feelings of overflow.
It's a choice.
Yeah, yes.
Mhm.
So what the key here is you're going to make yourself a priority. And I don't mean this in a selfish, narcissistic way. I mean this in a way that will allow you to be your best self. Because let me just ask all y'all. I'll let my Southern Maryland side come out for a minute. I'm going to ask all y'all. When you feel happy with yourself, that you're loving yourself and taking care of yourself, and you've gotten enough sleep, and you're eating in the manner that you choose to eat, does that impact the people around you?
Absolutely.
Yes.
Yes.
So when you make yourself the priority in this area, and we're talking not just work. I know most of us, we know each other in a business environment, but really this is just for your whole life. Like if you make yourself a priority in a way that is loving towards yourself, you're actually expressing love and impacting everyone around you at home or at work. So this, I think, is really critical. So just a couple of that prioritize sleep. The thing that I say, I'll bet if I just asked several of you that have been to a lot of my calls, you would raise your hand and say, Bridget's going to say, go to bed 30 minutes earlier than you are right now, whenever you're currently going to bed right now. If you are going to bed after midnight, attempt to make it at least midnight, right? And in terms of the morning, actually wake up at the same time or about 15 minutes earlier. So if you just do that shift and align your sleep, I think that can make a big difference. And don't fall in the trap. How many of you, myself included, I'm going to raise both hands and a foot. You're fine if you have 1 or 2 nights where you only get 4.5 or 5 hours of sleep, and you actually, do you ever do this the next day? You're like, I feel surprisingly good. I got such little sleep. I thought I wouldn't feel good. Anyone else do that other than me? Okay. And then 4 days later, you're falling asleep at 7:15 on your sofa and waking up at 3 a.m. with the lights on and then moving to your bed. So I feel, and I'm not a sleep expert, I'm not a doctor, but I do believe that you build up a deficit and it will still catch up with you at some point. And if you play that roulette too long, I do think that's when we set ourselves up to get sick, right? So that's when you're going to be more susceptible to viruses or, whatever gunk is out there. So just really think about your sleep. But the last thought I'll say on that is if you're tired, go to bed, right? Anyone else other than me do that? Oh, I'm really tired, but let me just stay up 20 more minutes to do X,
Nope.
or finish this, or what. No, like if you're tired, like go to bed. Okay. And then boundary. It is okay to set boundaries. You can't be all things to all people. And you know what? There's a balancing act, and several of you know that this is something that it's tied in for me as an individual. There's something tied in with my core values and saying you'll be where you say you're going to be. So I'm not talking about being cavalier and selfish and just like, 15 minutes before you're supposed to head out for a party, you're like, you know what, I just don't want to go. And then not showing up. That's not cool either. So it's a balance beam that you walk. Really reflect before you say yes. So if you need to say, you know what, Shirley, I'm going to get back to you on that. I just need to check a couple things. If you have any hesitation at all, if you want to do something, don't say yes till you know you're going to go. And then hold yourself to a high standard of, if you said you're going to go, you're going to go. The balance beam that we're walking is, let's say you do get sick or have a headache. Okay, so it's supposed to be going to an EMD party and you have a headache. That wouldn't be a good combination for me. Know that the party will still go on if you do have to make a tough decision to not be there. But just set your boundaries and give yourself a minute to think, reflect, and check your calendar and check your energy levels before you say yes. I feel like post-COVID, maybe not so much realtors, because most of us like people and we like to be around people and to do things. So oftentimes we do say yes to things, but a lot of people started saying automatic no's. Just check in with yourself. If you're automatically saying no to everything, make sure that you're challenging yourself and maybe say, you know what, I'm going to say yes when it is in alignment with my boundaries. Jen?
I wanted to share that my thing for this year is to say no more, but also I said yes to several things in October that I said yes to really far out. And by the time they rolled around, I was like, why did I do that? So I think it's normal for us to think of December, like protect December because, all the holiday parties explode. But what I realized this year is I need to protect my calendar starting in October because all these things pop up because everyone starts returning to my area. So this year I will not be cavalierly agreeing to all these things in October when it's like June.
Yes. And another thing to remember, because a lot of you are involved pretty intensely and purposefully with the luxury community and the luxury symposiums in October. And so, I think that's a really good advice for anyone on here that's involved with luxury. Start protecting your calendar. Even if you're not in a resort market like Jen, start protecting your calendar from that like early October on. It doesn't mean you're going to say no to everything. It just means that you're going to reflect.
Because I don't want to give out all my documentation until I understand and I agree to do this program. So let me have today to put that.
Okay. There are options where you can say maybe. So click the maybe. I have a feeling that
saying no too far out allows you to say yes when the people that you want to see ask you to do things and you're not already all congested on your calendar.
So I think we just adding in that moment of reflection prior to answering and feeling okay to click maybe. I'm going to take a guess, show of hands. Who doesn't like to say maybe because it feels very wishy-washy? I don't like saying maybe. I don't like it, right? Get over it. And especially if it's far out and you're not certain, go ahead and use it. And why do I say to use it? Use it because then the invitation is going to stay in your calendar or stay in you're going to get reminders of, hey, right? If you don't do anything, you could totally forget, and then you're missing out on opportunities you may have wanted. I know that's a lot of time to go into that, but it is an area that I think creeps up on nearly all of us, and I just wanted to reinforce that message at a high level. And it is okay. So I had to make a very tough choice in early December where I had committed to going to an event in Northern Virginia. And because of life, energy, family, I had to not go to that event. And those of you that know me, mark the calendar because that doesn't happen often at all. But it was all inside of me. Guess what? Did people still have fun at the party? Yes. Did life continue? Yes. Did Reagan National Airport notice one less traveler? No. Right. So we need to kind of hold ourselves in a manner that we want to conduct ourselves, but also realize the show goes on. Okay. And life continues. So we don't need to, get that wrapped up in it. Okay. And then this one, I think most of you have a decent handle on this. I just still need to mention it because it's something that ebbs and flows. And this is for men and women. So if you're a man on this call, this is for you as well. If anything, I think men tend to prioritize this less frequently than women do. But make sure you're setting aside time to take care of yourself. If you're waking up and you're waking up right at the time where you have to leap out of bed, make food for others, grab your coffee or spilling it on yourself so you never put on your shirt you're going to wear that day till right before you leave because you're running around like a nut. Cut it out. Either get up earlier and have half an hour before everyone else gets up, or go to bed earlier or do more the night before. Like, just really start thinking about it in that day-to-day basis. So when I say that, it's not necessarily go get a mani-pedi and get a massage every 3 days and okay, if you're doing that and that's working, great. But that's not what I'm talking about. It's day to day throughout the day. Have you scheduled in at least that little bit of quiet time in the morning? Have you scheduled in 10 minutes outside, almost regardless of the weather? If there's a hurricane or blizzard going on, okay, maybe not, but nearly any other condition, you're outside without your phone, 10 minutes disconnected. Are you actually taking a break while you're at work that is not just checking on other work? So just look at your day and could you put in, Mike Ferry would call it a pressure release valve. He said at least every 90 minutes while you're working, you should have at least 5 minutes of a break. And that was like at a minimum. 10 minutes would be better, right? So just look at yourself. Are you doing that? Or are you just running yourself in a frantic manner? What's the affirmation that handles this? How do you all carry yourselves through the day with
Ease and elegance.
yes? When you carry yourself through the day with ease and elegance, you cut down on the franticness.
I like that.
Yeah, everyone on this call, that is straight from Tony DeCello. How many of you know Tony DeCello? Put in the chat if you know Tony. But that is from Tony DeCello. And if I was on a panel and they said, what affirmation has had the biggest impact on your life, and it would be that one. So I got that from Tony in the early 2000s. I recall doing it even prior to Ethan being born. So I moved through the day with ease and elegance has been a part of my life now for at least 24 years.
I totally love that.
Okay. And then, when you're going to work. When you're going to be off. I know we're in real estate. Just be real with yourselves. If you submitted an offer and it's a multiple offer situation and you're waiting to hear back, did you get it? You're going to tell your family, hey, family, I am here and present for this dinner. I do have to hear if we're celebrating more that our offer was accepted. So let them know there's one thing, but don't let it get out of control. When you're off, be off. Put your phone in your purse. Put your phone on airplane mode or do not disturb or, and no phones at dinner. So just really think about that. Work when you're working, and when you're off, be off, with those few little exception roles that agents love to take and turn into way more than it should be. It really should only be time sensitive and deal sensitive things that you would interrupt family time during this time. Any questions on this or any other ways or ideas that you all manage this? All right.
I wholeheartedly agree. I just had flashbacks to those times where I didn't honor my time and I took a call and then it's a 9 p.m. seller yelling at me and my son sees my reaction or it's on speakerphone and it's just like, I did not have to answer that. Same yelling, it might have been better that I'd let him calm down and just call him back in the morning, like, hey, sorry, I missed your call at 9 p.m. How may I help you? You know what I mean? So us
Yes.
thinking that we're saving the day by taking those late calls, it's not
Mhm.
saving anybody's day, and it just rubs off and ruins our night.
You're exactly right, Amber. And it that also feeds into you teach people how to treat you.
Yeah.
When the very first time you answer that phone at 9 p.m., now when do they think they can call Amber?
Necessarily.
And could that subconsciously, so like Amber said, we think that we are saving the day or making them feel special or going the extra mile. They could interpret it as, this lady doesn't respect her time, so I don't have to either. Now, their logical mind may not use that language, but our subconscious is what drives the car. Hate to tell y'all, subconscious is driving the car, right? So the subconscious will perceive like, oh, she doesn't care. I'm not going to care either. So
Yeah,
just again, another balance beam that we walk. And you're right. Who else? Show of hands and a quick, put a yes in the chat. How many of you have been in a situation as Amber described? Like you answer the phone thinking it'll be a quick exchange. You're on speaker because you're driving. And then all of a sudden the seller or the co-op agent or whoever says something awful. Anyone else been in that boat?
Well, I basically don't let people talk to me like that. If they start doing that, I will say something very politely about, that's not the way.
Right.
I'll say something. I won't allow it.
Good.
I had an abusive husband. I won't allow that ever.
Yeah. So just when you're off, and be really very specific around what would interrupt your time off.
I think people are better in the morning anyway. Like we have clients that we know, like don't call them after 3.
Correct.
1,000%. Yes.
It's not going to go well.
I'll share with everyone. I have a couple of relatives that I won't call after 3 in whatever time zone they may be in. So I've carried that rule into my regular life as well. Because yes, people are typically in a better mood earlier in the day or it's better in the earlier. All right, let's go to the next one.
Hey, Bridget.
Yes.
Just want to plug, taught a class in the office, actually great book too. And there's an MREA podcast with him, but his name is Sahil Bloom. And he wrote a book on the 5 types of wealth. It's a beautifully written book. But anyway, I'm just throwing into the chat is a super cool story of Mark Randolph, who is one of the co-founders of Netflix. But he has had for 30 years a hard and fast rule that he stops work at 5 p.m. on Tuesdays because that's date night.
Yep.
And there's just some incredible stories of stock calls and investor meetings, and they'd call him at 4:55 and he's like, you got 5 minutes.
5 minutes. That's right.
And I just love it. There's a simplicity to it, but it's really beautiful.
And you guys can do that. And Kim Spear, she's another great example. Thanks for bringing that up, Jay. So when Kim's mother was getting older and writing was on the wall, so to speak, she called me, called a emergency meeting of her team and said, from here forward, every Thursday at noon, I'm done and don't even try. And she reserved that Thursday from noon on that she was with her mother and you weren't getting her. And guess what? Do you think her world fell apart?
No.
Do you think they
Probably
stopped
not at
having
all.
closings?
Probably went better.
Yeah, right. So definitely, I'm glad you shared that article and just really consider that. And by the way, so here's how a lot of our brains work. We hear that and we're like, and if you did this, feel free to raise your hand and confess. It's the confessional. How many of you heard what Jay just said and said, well, he's the co-founder of Netflix, so he can do what he wants, and everyone just has to say yes because he's a multi-billionaire, blah, 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 right? No, you can too, and your world's not going to fall apart. Okay.
Hey, real quick, there's a chapter in the book talking to this. The whole thing's about time, but basically the concept is called a life razor, RAZOR. And the idea is that when you have a binary choice, do I go left? Do I go right? Is it A? Is it B? Is it black? Is it white? That you need to have like a universal truth, a maxim that leads you to the right decision. So the idea of the life razor is, and it's very similar to an affirmation, almost reverse engineered. You just say, I'm the kind of person who honors date nights or coaches my kids in sports or leads with faith on Sundays or right? Like does the thing with the highest integrity. And then if the decision comes up and it's like, ooh, do I compromise on that commitment? It's like, you do not, because you are
Correct.
the type of person who honors date night.
That's right. Yeah, no, that's a great way. And again, it's all of this is merging with each other because that would even merge into stopping and reflecting a little bit more before you RSVP. And is it a definite yes? Is it a maybe? Is it a no?
Mhm.
Yeah, like it all intertwines. And then I know that I have a very practical side. So here comes a practical / maternal slide that we can do quickly. As a country, it's known that we're chronically dehydrated. And not known for getting restful sleep or being present in the moment. So if you're having a feeling of a mood or a funk or like, yeah, I don't know if I want to do X, Y, and Z, or if you're feeling indecisive, can you stop yourself and ask yourself these 3 questions? Am I rested? Am I hydrated? Am I present? And then check in with yourself. It doesn't mean that just allow it to let this be your funk buster and then put where it is. You know what? I did only get 4.5 hours of sleep last night. Probably why I'm having that feeling. I'm going to chug a glass of water, slap my face Scarlett O'Hara a few times, and then I'll make the calls I need to call. Then I will talk to the co-op agent that's causing shenanigans. Then I'll handle it. So just check in with yourself on those 3 things. Okay, going. So I want to share a few others before we get too far into this. Looking at 2026, I wanted to share with you guys a couple of other things you could do going into 2026. And hear me out, because I know many of you, the first thought will be like, no. How many of you meditate or have attempted meditation or do meditation? Surely. Would you say that you are tell us tell us a little bit about how it goes and how you do it, and do you think it's worthwhile?
It doesn't go well. I feel like I should be doing something when I'm trying to do it. And the best I can do is use my red light mask because I
Okay.
can't read anything while I have that thing on my face. And so that's the best I can do.
Okay.
Yeah.
If you would like, is there anyone here who would like to potentially incorporate or attempt again to have some meditation in 2026? If you would like to, one of the guests I had on the podcast has a free global meditation every morning. It's called Call to Calm. His name is Panache Desai. I've attended it twice now. It's half an hour and it's at the same time every morning. So if you want to try it, one of the things that I like about him, because most of us that are in real estate, we tend to attract driven, action-oriented, high-achieving people, right? We're not necessarily known for sitting for 20 minutes in reflection. So what I liked about, and I went to a few of them before I recommended them to all of you. I like it because you just log into Zoom and he guides you through it. So if you are able to give that a shot for the next few weeks, I'm going to do it every Thursday morning. I believe that's what I blocked off. But if you want to attempt that, even if you've tried in the past and it was not worthwhile or you couldn't really do it, I think that the way Panache guides you through it could make it accessible. And he also had some insights. I think that's an interesting episode. If you're looking for more peace or loving yourself and accepting yourself, he's the author of You Are Enough. That could be an interesting episode to listen to if you think that would be beneficial for you going into the new year. What would you all say is happening with your mornings and your mindset routine? Who's got a really strong, like, I do my affirmations and I've trained myself to have the consistent thought right when I wake up in the morning, and here's what I do. Who wants to share their incredible morning mindset routine?
Hey, I'll give you something. So my word next year is enough.
Okay.
And there was a pretty awesome book called The Gap and the Gain, written by Dan Sullivan. And if you look at, like Tony Robbins has been teaching this for years, but part of the blessing and the curse, right, is that we're never satisfied. And so if you're always looking at what you haven't done yet, the gap, you just have that sort of running on the treadmill, moving the goalpost kind of, anxiety. So what is recommended is that you monthly, quarterly, whatever, like literally write down every win you've had. And it seems silly, but it is actually really, really powerful. So I've adapted that. And actually every morning I do what's called the 5+, where I look at my schedule and my day before and I just write down 5 things that went well, 5 things I'm happy about. It could be a good workout, it could be a date night, it could be watching Stranger Things with my daughter. It doesn't matter, get a listing signed, just 5 things. So I call it the 5 plus, and that has really reshaped how my mornings go.
Good. Good. And you're making that a ritual.
I handwrite it. I've always done like a handwritten journal. I just find there's a lot of power in handwriting stuff. But
100% yes.
yeah,
Remember,
so I do
that's
that, and then I
another-
do the affirmation, and then whatever, I've got some spiritual things that I read that I just write some quotes down every morning.
Okay. Karen?
I kind of do a similar thing a little differently. Grateful is always my word. I don't change it because I think gratitude just attracts a lot more to me. So grateful always is kind of the way I look at it. And I get up in the morning thankful I'm alive every single
Mhm.
day, thankful for everything that God has given me. And my meditation is more of I'll read the Bible or I'll meditate and think about it so that I can apply it in my life. So I use meditation more as a thought process as opposed to emptying my mind. I try to
Mhm.
fill it so that I fill my heart and my mind with things that work. And the other thing that I did when you said, do you ever get stressed out, upset? I pray and it brings me calm. It works a lot for me, and it's because I have that close connection that I've survived a lot of the tough things I've been through in my life, and I'm still
Right.
here, fully and happy and grateful.
Good. So prayer and reflection and adding in. Very good.
Oh, and the other thing too is I'm finally starting to get my morning routine in order of, my goal is I've always worked out in the morning and I still haven't quite made it there, but I'm working towards getting up early, and I get up at like 3 or 4 or 5 in the morning early. Because Gary says if you wake up at 3, there's a reason that I got up at 3 today because I was awake and I got to bed early last night because I was
Mhm.
exhausted. So, but I'm trying to set this schedule to where I really focus in on getting things done that need to be done. So anyway, thank you.
Well, if you master your morning, you gain freedom in your life, hands down, across the board. Tyler?
So I don't know if this is exactly what you're looking for, but what I've been intentional about here lately is my husband gets up early because he's a school teacher. So I've always been intentional to get up with him, and then I'll have my coffee and just kind of sit with him while he gets ready. And so it puts my morning in a better spot to where either we're talking or like this morning, we were both just tired, but we just kind of sat together. And then after that, I'll also get ready and I'll go to the gym in the morning. So Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday. So it helps set my pace in my day and starts off with something that's good. And we can either just talk or just be with each other.
That's great. And so you're kicking off the morning with family and with
Mhm.
that focused time. So I think that's a good routine. And you're setting him off to deal with the children in a more powerful mode for him as well, because he feels, I'm assuming, but he probably feels heard and valued and all of that heading out the door.
Yeah. So we've really enjoyed it, and it's kind of become a thing to where we get up together. I'll let him get ready and just sip my coffee, and we stay around and talk. And it's really set our morning, even with the stressful days or knowing I have something stressful. Like it's just a good way to start it, and then being able to stop it together too. Like once we finally get home together.
Excellent. Well, I have a few other ideas that I want to run past you guys, and these are big picture, big life things where you're still prioritizing yourself. The first is you get a choice. So in 2020, what would be possible if you chose to either restart a former passion? So maybe something you did in your childhood, maybe you played soccer or you were in ballet or you used to paint or you played the piano or whatever, like whatever outlet or hobby you may have had when you were young that you let go of at some point. What if you reclaimed that? Or choice number 2, how many of you have something you've wanted to do and you always wanted to do it when you were little and you never did? So this one is a choice. I'm not saying to do both. I think if you did both, it would be overstimulating and it would take too much time, and all of you have busy lives and responsibilities. But what if you picked one of those in 2026? If you and you just made it happen. So I was always fascinated by fencing. Did I ever learn to fence? No. Did I go to a couple of camps that had fencing in the summer and I got a little taste of it? Yes, but I never really did it. So guess what I've been researching for next spring? Are there adult beginner fencing classes in my area? And guess what? Yes. Right. So think about that. There's a joy there. Several years ago, I did find adult ballet classes and I went back to ballet. I'm considering doing that, again as well. I'm going to decide because doing both would be too much. And I'm deciding which one is going to be incorporated into next year. So think about that. I think that taps into a different level of promises that we make to ourselves and then following through on them or reclaiming something that brought us joy. And by the way, does it mean you'll do it forever? No. Does it mean you might do it forever? Yes. So you don't know. I'm not saying there's any guarantee, but I believe that would shake up your subconscious self-perception and your brain where you may uncover some new passions or energy for next year. And then another thought that I had is be a tourist in your own town and do it at least once a month. And what do I mean by be a tourist in your own town? Most of you, I'm looking at who's on the list here, you live in places that are pretty robust. I don't see anyone who's like ultra super rural on here today. And even if you're someplace rural, there's other small towns nearby. If you've exhausted like everything in your town, then go to the next town. But nearly all of you, there are, even if you've lived where you live for decades, there's probably museums you haven't gone to, gardens you haven't gone to, a botanical garden, a zoo. Have you been to your zoo? There's probably an iconic restaurant that's like, funky or hole in the wall or fancy, whatever. There's usually things in your town that you have not done yet. And in 2026, with intentionality, what if once a month you went and you were a tourist in your own town? What do you guys think? Anyone think that could shake things up for you next year?
Yeah, that just made me think of a good idea. I used to do this years ago on a team I was with. It would be someone would have like a location of the month and it would be a small business or something to do. And we would hang out. We would learn more about the company. A lot of times it was small businesses. And then we meet the owner, make a little social media thing about it, enjoy it, and check off a lot of boxes at once.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And let yourself think. There's gardens, there's historic buildings, there's charitable places. Just think like, all right, where could I go and what could I do? But adding in that measurable component of you're doing it at least once a month. And by the way, it doesn't have to be alone. Like Amber said, invite your team, invite your family, do it with friends and family. Maybe you've got like a First Fridays art walk, great, or a wine trail, or you can even invite some VIPs or past clients. But just do it with intentionality because we can have intentions of doing that and then all of a sudden the year's gone. And then the last little thought, which is very similar, it's like just a slight variation on that. What if once a quarter you go to what I'm going to call an arts event? So what if you went to one theater production? What if you really got outside? If you've never been to the opera, what if you went to the opera one quarter? And if you typically, like someone in an aquamarine turtleneck, usually goes to rock-oriented concerts or jazz and classical. What if I challenged myself and I went to I don't know, like a country type of concert? That would be completely outside of my comfort zone. But just what if once a quarter you purposefully went to something in the arts that's a live performance that's outside of what you would normally do? Even comedy. Like what if you went to a stand-up comic show? And by the way, this doesn't have to be all big money. How many of you live in an area where there is a concert in the park series or concert on the water, concert at the lake, and they're free, right? So I'm not saying you have to, drop $1,000 going in a private jet to the opera in San Francisco. Like it can be manageable, but and I do want some feedback on this. I feel like in our industry and in the last, I'm just going to say 5 years we've been through, how many of you feel as if your vision has narrowed and become much more focused on just real estate and just work? Am I the only one? It's been a bit of a challenge. So I was thinking to myself, how could we, with intentionality and purpose, totally shake up our subconscious, meet different people and have different experiences and still have it make you more connected to your community? So those were the first ideas that I came up with. Any feedback or questions or inspiration from that?
Yes, 100%. So we went to a local coffee shop recently and we all made it a mission. Like everyone has to give out at least 5 business cards before we leave. So we got to experience the new place. And I think for my mental, like that'll help me feel better knowing like, I'm not just wasting time eating food because I always think about like, what could I be doing? No, I'm lead generating and they could do the same thing at an aquarium. Oh my gosh, Chanel and Dominique did something so funny after an event. They went out to like a cigar bar and she was giving out her cards like, I'm a local luxury real estate agent. So like, yes, we got permission to have fun. We squeezed in some work and we got to know people. So that's just what I'm on right now.
I think that's great. And you brought up some other good ideas. There's aquariums, we have a butterfly pavilion near us here. We have a train park. Like if you go digging, almost all of you are in towns of a large enough size that there's stuff out there you haven't done. And just get out and do it. And the local businesses and the things that are, because we tend to be creatures of habit. If you don't make yourself go to the new local coffee shop, you're probably going to the same one you go to all the time.
Hey, fun additive there. I'll put the article in the chat, but it was basically a recommendation to drive without GPS, which made me laugh in the way that actually, I got to read this because it was fascinating. Essentially, check this out. A 2024 study in the British Medical Journal looked at the deaths from Alzheimer's in 433 different careers. And they specifically found that taxi drivers and ambulance drivers, occupations which involve frequent navigational and spatial processing, they had the lowest proportions of death attributed to Alzheimer's disease. And so the idea of then like gamifying how you get around your town, where like you actually pay attention and you got to remember routes, right? Like you got to remember landmarks. I thought it was super cool. My daughter's going to be driving soon and I'm like, we're going to do this the old fashioned way. We're going to like learn how to drive the city.
I never use GPS. I don't even know how to use it. I need to learn how to use it for when I go to LA or other places.
Jay, will you pop that article in the chat? As someone whose mom passed away of Alzheimer's this summer, I'd love to do everything I can to avoid it.
I just put it in there for you.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Jay, we appreciate all this stuff. This is really good. I can't wait to read that book of Set Heals. Thank you.
So going in that same vein, anyone seen any of the research on not using your phone and not having your phone all the time?
That's going to be scary.
So I am going to post a YouTube video. This is a YouTuber that I particularly enjoy. His name is Eddie Burbach. Let me get the link. So this young man did an experiment with himself where he went 30 days without a cell phone, and it's really it shows some insight. I think that is worth watching. So I just popped that in there. He's an interesting young creator, and I think it's pretty interesting. So I guess that's the what I'm going to end with is, many of you know, I know for myself to function and not burn out, I need to be off grid. And it just is part of my charm, is how I'll put it. I did decide that rather than waiting and being off grid which I'm still going to do that too, off grid, like when I was on the mountain, I just go where there's not cell service, because guess what? That makes it easy. If you can't trust yourself, find a place near you that has 0 cell service and go there. But one last thought. Consider that 1 day per month you'll go off grid, meaning just no phone, internet, digital, like if you wanted to make that a Lord of the Rings trilogy movie day with your family and no phones, great. So I'm not saying no technology at all. If you wanted to make it movie oriented, great, but no phone. Phone is on airplane mode the entire day. So just think about, I do think when possible, it's great when you incorporate nature into your off-grid time. If a day seems too long, what if you literally had 3 hours no phone, 3 hours off-grid per month with intentionality and purpose? Because some of you might be saying, well, that just happens. Sometimes I leave it in my bedroom and no, that's not giving you the benefit, because there's not the intentionality and purpose of, I am putting you on do not disturb and now I'm enjoying this. So you need the intentionality and the purpose behind it. If that is scary to you, just reflect on it. Could you work that in? And do you think there would be any benefit? I also think it's interesting to do it and not necessarily plan what's going to fill the space, and then see what happens and see what you decide to fill the space with. So those are just the thoughts that I really wanted to share with all of you. And I'd love it if we could now, if you all could either, Jay, thank you. You shared that your word for the year is enough. I think it's interesting. Maybe you should grab the You Are Enough book from Panache Desai, because it's very much in alignment with your word of the year. But if people would like to share either their word of the year out loud or in the chat, and if you would like to start sharing some takeaways from our time together.
I'll go because I have to hop on to another call. This was fantastic. Thank you. My word for 26 is purposeful. I feel like I've gotten away from being purposeful. And then everything that you're suggesting kind of flows right into that. Love the idea of being purposeful about going to a local tourist or tourist spot, being a tourist once in my greater Houston area. We have plenty of options and just soaking that in. And I also think, what could that do for your business as well? Just when you're with clients out and about, telling them about the things that you've experienced, over the past month or 3 months or whatever it may be, if you have people moving in from out of the area.
That's right.
Just almost being a little tour guide. I love all of those ideas. Thank you.
Yeah, good. And and Alyssa, I'm glad you brought that up because nearly everything we discussed, it all carries over into work. Y'all know I like multi-purposeful things, right? So if you do, let's say that you decide that you're going to take up fencing. Great. You're going to do posts about, I'm headed to my fencing class. Did you know that Phoenix has blah, blah, blah with fencing? So it's going to, that when you're tourist for a day, you're going to get pictures, you're going to check in, you're going to post where you are. And then other people are going to say, oh my God, I love the butterfly pavilion. I took my granddaughter, blah, blah, blah. So you're going to create engagement. You're going to appear more human and less like real estate robot and very connected to your community. Jen?
I like the thing that you said to do something you did as a child or that you've always wanted to do, because I've always wanted to be able to play the piano. And actually, one of the agents in our market center teaches piano. Like that is something she actually does. So she is supposed to be sending me a link. Like I had already started this for the keyboard that she recommends. So I can have a keyboard in my little condo. And I am like, this is already in motion. I'm taking piano this year. And to the Alzheimer's point, I had read an article somewhere that playing music, actually playing it or singing it, like with intention, not just singing along the radio, actually using your voice, reading music and using your voice, is one of the only things that prevents Alzheimer's.
Excellent. I'm glad that you're going to be doing that. You're going to have to keep us posted.
Right? The Simply Piano app is offering 50% off right now.
That's what I was going to say.
If you want to know what's in my feed.
Yes, good, because there is, you could have digital and in human support in learning. And I'll bet that will accelerate your learning curve.
Yeah.
And then in a year from now, you and I can do dueling pianos
and I
event. Okay.
I can do the intros for your calls.
Excellent. Yes, live. Yes, just like at Nordstrom. I'll have a live pianist specializing in like Vince Guaraldi tunes. Okay, good. Karen?
Interesting thing is that was exactly my thing because I also used to play the piano and I had a baby grand piano in my house, which when my house burned, of course, my piano burnt too. So I finally thought, you got to get a piano. So my neighbor was moving. I bought her just a small one until I'm ready for a new real one. And so I'm intentional to pick that up again. I haven't started yet, but at least I got the piano. So just like
you're in action.
But the other thing I want to pick up I used to do tap ballet, jazz, hula, all that stuff. I'm picking my hula back up, but I also want to pick my ballet back up. I love that. So
Your what?
Ballet. I love
ballet. Yeah. Do it.
Yeah. So
do
one more thing on my list to do. Thank you.
Excellent.
So my word for 2026 is going to be intentional, because I really want to make sure that I'm focused on the things that I need to be focused on. It was all great and kind of reinforcing because one of my goals for next year was to pick up reading again, something I used to love to do and I just haven't done in a long time. And then the meditation as well. Another goal of mine was to be able to meditate every day and kind of build that up because I never sit with myself in silence to reflect. And I'm like, I want to practice that of just sitting silently and letting everything run its course through my mind.
Go to that call to calm. Really, I feel like he allows people to learn how to do it in a way that works with real estate agent brains. And then not his specialty. He does it in a way that cuts through our desire to be thinking all the time.
Yeah. And I also tend to be a homebody and have wanted to get out and be more of a local expert instead of just real estate expert.
Yeah.
So it seems more doable if I'm doing something once a month
Yes.
or once a quarter instead of, oh, I need to go do here and here, like to be intentional about those things and like, all right, get out of the house, go do something.
Yes. And I really thought about the flow and the frequency. And that's why I thought, like maybe it's a big thing once a quarter, like a concert or a comedy stand-up show or a tour of like a ghost tour of the downtown. Maybe that's once a quarter and then once a month doing be the tourist and just attend. Excellent. Jay?
Love where you were going with the phone and restricting its use. I heard this morning that performance equals potential minus interference. And I thought that was brilliant. So your potential minus interference. I just looked this up because I read it somewhere. The average adult picks up their phone and checks it 352 times a day. It's every 2 minutes. So if your performance is your potential minus your interference, how is 352 distractions?
Interruptions. Yep.
You were never going to kiss your potential. You're throwing it away. I mean, it's like it gives you nothing. The payoff isn't worth the cost.
It isn't. And actually, I think that's one of the things that's a blessing for me because, as you all know, those of you that coach with me, 98% of the time, my phone's on Do Not Disturb while I'm coaching. Is it a pain in the neck for people to get in touch with me? Yes. Do I tell all of them that? Yes. So they all know. But I feel like that's a blessing in disguise. Now, am I in Zoom all the time? Yes. Is there probably some brain drain happening from that? Probably. I don't know. But I do think that that's a benefit. And that you're right with that level of interruption, it's remarkable. So I do think the time is now for all of us to consider modifying our current phone usage and interactions in 2026. I will tell you on a personal note, one of the other things I'm doing myself, I am going to go back to wearing a watch because you know what I wonder, Jay? How many of those 300 and something are going, oh, what time is it? Oh, it's 11:02. I went 2 minutes over the length of the call. Oh no, they're all going to be mad at me, right? So I decided that's one thing I was going to do is go back to wearing a watch and see if that would cut down on some of those using it as a clock.
I don't know. I check the weather app like 13 times a day for some reason.
It's because you live in Boston. That's why. I think all of us agree, correct? It's because he lives in Boston. If I lived in Boston, I'd probably check the weather app 100 times a day too. Okay, guys, I hope this was valuable. Was it valuable?
Honey, you're always valuable. Thank you very much. Yes.
Well, thank you. And if I do not talk to you prior to however you celebrate the end of this year, I celebrate Christmas. So I, wish you a Merry Christmas if you do. If you celebrate Hanukkah or another celebration, I hope that you have just an incredible celebration in whichever way you do it. If I don't talk to you before New Year's, please be safe. It is a night where, what do they call it? Amateur night. So be careful if you're doing anything or going anywhere on New Year's Eve. And I'm really excited about 2026. The reality is the last couple years, and I know we're a few minutes over, I apologize, but I think we can all face or accept that the last 2 years, in particular, 2.5 years in some markets, have really presented some tough challenges in real estate. And you guys are in it. You're committed. You're learning based. You're optimistic. You're hopeful. You're in this not just to build wealth for yourself, but to impact people's lives. I believe everyone in this call, I know all of you well enough to know that you genuinely want the best for all of your clients. And you even extend that desire and that care for others to do well to yourself, your colleagues, and the co-op agents. So I just feel as if 2026, there's a lot of opportunity for agents that are in it full time with that level of commitment, coming to it with gratitude, desiring to create and impact other people's lives, create change in people's lives. So all of you, get some rest in the next couple of weeks. Remember that people still do real estate in the next couple of weeks, so still have your awareness on. When you have good news and good things happen, please text me. You will not ever impose. I have good phone skills. What did Jay say earlier? I see myself as someone with great phone skills. No one will ever wake me up or interrupt when I'm in the middle of something really critical with my family or my friends. So just if you have good news and you get that last minute cash deal accepted or a listing decided to go live before New Year's, text me and let me know. And when I see it, I'll let you know that I saw it and we'll celebrate. If you face a challenge, same thing, just send it. Okay?
Thank you.
All right, get out there. Thank you, and thank you for contributing today.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks and happy holidays.